Hey, 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 happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host, here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by, incredibly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So tonight is Tuesday, March 7th, 2023. This is live stream 895. If you're not overly familiar with the show, let me point out, super casual around here. We just hang out talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and then we'll take a look at a tabletop game. And tonight is no exception. Tonight, I am going to dive on into the very recently released Zobeck, Clockwork City from Kobold Press. This is for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons, and our friends over at Kobold Press sent this along for me to review. So we're going to dive in. We're going to take a first look. This just arrived, I want to say, I think it was Saturday it showed up. So I am very interested in taking a peek. If you follow the Gaming Gang, you know I really dig the Midgard setting from Kobold Press. And this is going to cover the free city of Zobeck. So we are going to be diving on into that in just a bit. Should mention, if you are tuning in for the first time for the Dispatch, we tackled the tabletop gaming news first. So it's probably going to be about 35, maybe even 40 minutes before we jump on into Zobeck Clockwork City. So if you're watching live, put your feet up, relax, kick back, enjoy yourself. Maybe you're a subscriber to the channel. Got something that'll keep you occupied while you're waiting for that first look. But, of course, do want to point out, we will get there, so be patient. But if you are watching this 30 minutes or more after the stream has ended and you're the impatient type who just needs to get to that first look, you'll be able to. There are timestamps, so they are located in the show notes. And, of course, depending on what device you might happen to be watching this on, the timestamps might be right there in the timeline in front of you. So there is that. So you can jump ahead. Although we've got cool news tonight, you may not want to miss some of the cool news that we've got. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, don't forget, visit thegaminggang.com for all the latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more that you won't find here on the YouTube channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. So you remember I mentioned, well, maybe you're a subscriber, got something to occupy your time if you're, just kicking back waiting for that first look. And that is chat. Yes, this is a live stream. So that means we have chat available. It's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you must be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours before you can take part in chat. Yet another way I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you want to say howdy, maybe you've got a question, comment, or maybe there's something about Zobeck Clockwork City you want to take a closer look at, by all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. So far, first out the gate tonight was the Motor City Madman himself. Yes, far more talented than that other Motor City Madman. That's right, it's our Madman, the Madman. Also happens to be one of our chat moderators, as is Flaming Huron. who is with us from Australia. He is another of our chat moderators. Kathy Evans is with us. Zorak Zoran 1, veteran Grabelox, and Dan Wheeler, Kevin R. Smith. I think that's it. I thought there was one more. I don't think so. I think I've got everybody in chat right now. So the Madman's got a quick update regarding Holy Grail Games, which we talked about. I think this was a couple weeks ago. Said they apparently, their unfulfilled Kickstarter backers can reach out to the distributor, pay for shipping, and receive their game. But the Madman says they're still trying to talk to someone, though. Yes, Flaming Heron says, fingers crossed. Me too, because that is kind of cool, because the distributor didn't really have to do that. The warehouse didn't have to do that. So fingers crossed that does work out. I forget what game it is that we were talking about that they hadn't fulfilled. I think it's 2, isn't it? 2 Kickstarters that they haven't fulfilled. I believe that's the case. Once again, I've never really covered Holy Grail Games in the past anyway. So a lot of this all came, out of nowhere. I think I shared the news when they said, that's it. Rallyman Dirt. Thank you, Madman. I'm sitting there going, it's some race game. It's a race game. What race game is it? What is that race game? Madman says, yes, it's 2 Kickstarters. But yes, I remember sharing the news piece where it was, as of that day, they were shutting down. They were going to be out of business. Not cool. Fingers crossed for all of those backers out there that they get the games that they backed. All right. So speaking of games, let's talk about some tabletop gaming news, because now shipping from Capstone Games is Nano 9 Games Volume 1 Railways. Here's what I know. In the middle of the 19th century, the time of the Industrial Revolution, you must take advantage of the steam age and build your railroad empire by developing railroads, expanding buildings, and moving passengers to make the most profit at the end of 12 rounds. Railways is the first game in the Nano 9 Games family. With 9 cards, 9 dice, and 9 cubes, you must build a network and connect the buildings to move passengers. You will use cards and icons to perform actions. During each round, play cards to combine icons to perform actions. Build a link, move a passenger, build a building, upgrade an existing link, take money, decrease pollution, or add a new passenger. If you play 2 icons from the same card, you must increase your pollution. Your goal is to make as much profit as possible. Money, money, money. And you earn money when you move passengers through links and buildings. With a second set of cards and dice and cubes in a different color, you can play Railways with 2 players. Nano 9 Games Volume 1 Railways is a solitaire game. It's for ages 10 and up, plays in around 30 minutes, and it will carry an MSRP of $16.99. Well, talk about very portable. 9 cards, 9 dice, 9 cubes. That's it. You could probably fit that into a Mentos box. So, not Mentos box. Mentos don't come in a box. Duh, Altoids box. Yeah, it's a mint box. You know what I mean. So, kind of cool. I thought this looked kind of interesting, a little bit different. Plus, it's solitaire as well. So, Roger Prudhomme and our friend Chen from Taiwan, as well as Hector Stafford, have joined us in chat. I think this might be a first-time visit for Hector. Name isn't ringing a bell, but that's not unusual. Sometimes we have people who pop in from time to time, and I don't recall them visiting before. So welcome, everybody. Good to have you hanging out with us in chat tonight. On to the next news piece. Returning to print from Mighty Boards is Days of Ire, Budapest, 1956. Here's the skinny. Or would you prefer me to say Budapest? I don't know. I think in the 50s they were calling it Budapest. It's 1956, and waves of protests in Poland are once again showing cracks of the Eastern European communist bloc. Emboldened by these signs, students and intellectuals in Budapest, the Hungarian capital, organize a protest of previously unseen magnitudes. As the communist leadership sweeps in to kill the movement in its tracks, a violent response is provoked, thus sparking the revolution of the 23rd of October. One player takes charge of the Soviet forces, trying to shape the headlines to his liking, and uses the militia and snipers of the State Protection Authority to stop the revolutionaries at all cost. The other players, from 1 to 3 opponents, cooperatively play as the ringleaders of the revolutionary forces, collecting resources, represented as icons on their cards, and recruiting other fighters to ensure the revolution's events end up in favor of their side, while fighting off tanks and soldiers in this exciting, historically inspired card-driven game. Days of Ire, Budapest, 1956 is played over 7 days, the last week of October, 1956. The Soviet commander plays headline cards at the beginning of every turn, gathering command points and triggering effects that sometimes help, sometimes hinder the revolutionary effort. This card play, reminiscent of well-known card-driven war games such as Twilight Struggle or Labyrinth War on Terror, is what drives the tempo and the strategic thrust of the game. The other players form the revolutionary side. They collect cards and fighters for 2 reasons: to resolve events for boosts to their side, and to fight off militia, snipers, and Soviet tanks in a drastic fight for survival. They have to manage their positions while spreading across Budapest, carefully dividing their actions as a team and always keeping an eye on the morale, lest they run out of cards. This team playing aspect, reminiscent of highly successful cooperative games such as Pandemic, guarantees ease of access to players who would otherwise be more intimidated by a traditional card-driven game. If any of the revolutionary ringleaders suffer too many wounds, or if they fail to resolve enough events by the end of the game, history changes and the revolution fails. But if they keep the streets of Budapest free from oppression, the revolution lives on to fight another day. Days of Ire, Budapest 1956 is for 1 to 4 players, ages 10 and up, plays around 60 to 90 minutes. It's slated for a return here in Q1, and it will carry an MSRP of $45. Well, gotta say, I am intrigued. I had heard of this game previously. I think it originally came out 2017-ish, and looks quite interesting. I gotta say, I think Mighty Boards is kind of doing their own thing now. I believe previously they kind of had like a partnership with Greenbrier Games. I don't think they're doing that any longer. I think they're pretty much publishing their own stuff. And gotta say, this looks very, very interesting. Good to see that it is returning to print. And I would definitely not mind checking this out. And an MSRP of $45. Not too shabby. Should point out, if I remember my history correctly, the Soviets end up smashing that revolution. I think I'm like 99% positive that the Soviets ended up sending in the Soviet army to quell the revolution, and they eventually snuffed it out rather quickly. So let's see, we've got a few more folks, I believe, swinging on into chat. Russell Higgins is with us, as is MC. Sweet. Welcome aboard. All right, let's move on to some role-playing game news. Because Free League Publishing has announced a new adventure supplement for the second edition of the One Ring role-playing game. I've got the scoop on Tales from the Lone Lands. Now they had gone on far into the Lone Lands, where there were no people left, no inns, and the roads grew steadily worse. Not far ahead were dreary hills, rising higher and higher, dark with trees. On some of them were old castles with an evil look, as if they had been built by wicked people. Free League Publishing has announced Tales from the Lone Lands, the second expansion for the multiple award-winning second edition of the One Ring role-playing game based on the works of J.R.R. Tolkien. The expansion is a beautifully illustrated hardback compendium containing 6 brand new adventures. All are set in the Lone Lands of northwestern Middle-earth, and the adventures can be played individually or as part of a larger tale. The expansion includes a troll hole, if there ever was one, and Kings of Little Kingdoms, which are relatively self-contained adventures, but still hint at a growing danger. Messing about in boats involves directly one member of the company in an unexpected way. Not to strike without need and wonder of the northern world follow the slow infiltration of spies of the enemy. And then there's the quest of Amen Gurthros, which challenges the heroes to battle an ancient evil. All the adventures in the Tales from the Lone Lands expansion, strangely enough, they unfortunately wrote Tales of from the joke. Cell sheet info says Tales of from the Lone Lands. So it's Tales from the Lone Lands. Assume that the time frame is the same as the one in the One Ring role-playing game. The year's around 2965. So I do not have any word on a page count yet. I see MC is asking that question. I do not have a release date, nor do I have an MSRP. None of that information was included in the news release that I received. In fact, I received 2 of them today from Free League Publishing. But at least we've got some images. I love the one that we're looking at right now. I really, really dig that piece of artwork there. So nice to see we've got a new adventure collection on the horizon coming for the second edition of the One Ring. So I would take a stab. We're probably looking at summer. Probably looking at a summer release there is my guess. That is what I'm taking a peek at. So, strangely enough, I gotta see something here. I think, get ready for this, right? I think there is actually a spider inside my monitor. I just saw something moving and I'm like, wait a second, what the hell is that? And I'm like, okay, so it's not on the monitor. That is bizarre. I have never had that happen before. So it's like, well, alrighty. I've said it before. It's like, this is the kingdom of the spiders. So now I guess I am going to have to make sure to cover up the vents when I don't have the monitor on. I don't know. Kind of bizarre. Anyway, when I get more news about this new adventure compendium, I will, of course, bring it to you. So Hector says, time to get a new monitor? Better not be. It's like, this is 4K, baby. It's not that old. I haven't had it that long. I don't know. That's really bizarre. That is really bizarre, but it's got to be. It's got to be inside it. So fingers crossed it doesn't like blow something up. I'll be like, oh, well, hey, gang, gonna have to stop the show because I don't have a monitor anymore. Yes, what can I tell you? Wancho Tumagal has joined us in chat. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. Anyway, what I was going to say is nice to see Free League Publishing with a new release for the One Ring second edition, because I had heard kind of through the grapevine, not from anybody affiliated with Free League Publishing, I'll tell you that right up front, but I had heard from some other folks in the industry that the One Ring wasn't doing all that well for Free League Publishing, so I don't know. I think that, to be honest, I think the Adventures in Middle-earth just outsells it. I know it outsold the One Ring for Cubicle 7 Entertainment when they had it, so I don't know. Flaming Hero says, spiders in the duct tape studios and in the monitors. Yeah, so I'm going to have to put duct tape on the monitor to catch spiders before they get into it. Yeah, that's so bizarre. Really is. Because it's like I see like a shadow kind of moving. And I'm like, what in the world could that be? Like, I don't have any animation on that screen. And then all of a sudden I see it start heading down. And I'm like, okay, so that's something that's alive. All right, okay. On to the next news piece. There's a new Traveler role-playing game adventure collection, which is now available in print and PDF. And I've got the dope on the Marches Adventures 1 through 5 from Mongoose Publishing. The Spinward Marches, out on the Imperial frontier, is a borderland sector where even the humble can find great fortune and exciting voyages. Marches Adventures 1 to 5 provides a set of adventures that can be inserted into any ongoing campaign set in this region of the charted space universe, while showcasing the Spinward Marches and some of the worlds within. Inside you will find High and Dry, a classic adventure designed to kickstart an entire campaign. The travelers have been gifted a detached duty ship by the Scout Service, which will be theirs to use as they see fit. The only catch is they're going to have to find it first. Then there's the mission to Mithril. The travelers land at a rudimentary starport, only to find their vessel disabled and the base strangely empty. As they explore, a distant distress beacon is detected, but reaching it requires an overland trek. Having located the survivors, the travelers discover their problems are only just beginning. Then there's Search and Rescue. Working search and rescue in the Gorham system is a complex business. Gorham is red zone to protect its emerging culture, with passing ships directed to refuel at Gorham Station. For the travelers, a contact to run the search and rescue operation is a legal way to bypass the interdiction. After weeks of patrols, the travelers receive a GK signal. A ship is in distress somewhere in the red zone. The ship is crippled, its occupants in mortal danger, and the travelers must act fast to save them. Then we have Artemis Wept. The travelers are delivering a breeding herd of critically endangered animals for Project Artemis, located on the backwater world of Pyramus. There, they can relax and enjoy the pleasures offered. Dinner with the local noble, pony riding in the countryside, and saving an entire species from extinction. And then we have Safari World. A wealthy industrialist needs a qualified crew to accompany him on a hunting expedition to an uncharted world. His prey? A magnificent and mysterious trapper species said to roam the planet. The safari takes on a new dimension when the travelers discover they are not alone. The residents of 567-908 have eluded discovery for their entire existence. And now that they've been found, they might just be the key that helps the travelers find their quarry. The 200-page Traveler, the March's Adventures 1 to 5, is available in softcover. I think it's softcover. It might be hardcover. I saw conflicting items. So it might be softcover, could be, I'm going to say it's hardcover because it's 200 pages. The MSRP is $49.99. That sounds about right. Or you can also grab the PDF over at DriveThruRPG for $29.99. Yes. So I am familiar with the first 2 adventures in this collection. And, you know, strangely enough, I thought all 5 of these have already been previously published. But when I went and took a peek at DriveThruRPG, I only saw High and Dry and Mission to Mithril, which those are the 2 I know had already been out previously. But for some strange reason, Search and Rescue and Artemis Wept sound really familiar to me. So I don't know. I have no idea. Kind of curious. So one thing I will point out is, yes, it is a $29.99 PDF, but you are getting 200 pages, and it is 5 adventures. And we know the way Mongoose Publishing prices both their physical books and their PDFs. This is actually a pretty good deal as far as they've got. Shaz is with us in chat saying, man, I've been watching Traveler videos and really want to get into it. Unfortunately, it's hard to find people to play where they're at. You know, I've got to be honest. I think any role-playing game outside of D&D and possibly Pathfinder 2nd Edition and Call of Cthulhu are probably difficult to get just your run-of-the-mill role players to get on board. Traveler is not a difficult system whatsoever. In fact, this month's edition of Why You Should Play is going to feature Traveler. That is the role-playing game that I'm going to feature this month. In fact, I'm probably going to shoot that video this weekend. So keep that in mind. I like Traveler. I like Traveler quite a bit. So once again, as I started to say, it's not a complex system. It's complex if you want to take on the whole, travelers are shipping cargo to all these different places. And if you want to sit there and have to keep track of all their expenses for their ship and things like that, yeah, then you're starting to get into a ton of math. But you certainly don't have to do that. So Russell Higgins says, I like Traveler. In fact, I prefer their adventures. Look into Fantasy Grounds, see if you can find an online game. That's a good idea. That's actually a pretty good idea. Russell also points out, Mongoose is always pricey on PDF. I wait until they appear bundled somewhere. Yes, we do see those every once in a while. Kevin says, if you want Traveler on a budget, there's always Cepheus Engine, which is based on the same rule set, as is Traveler 5, which is Mark Miller, who was one of the creators of Traveler. Although, from what I understand, Traveler 5 is more toolkit than actual, finished game. But I don't know. Kevin points out they just had a Traveler bundle of holding a little bit ago. Yeah, from time to time we see that. We do see. And as far as the bundles of holding go, they are a little pricier than we normally see, but yeah, you usually get a pretty good deal on all the Traveler goodies, or at least the starter set and things like that. I know there's a quick start that I think is $1, or it may even be free, but I'm pretty sure it's $1. That is actually pretty substantial. All right, on to my last news piece. Now available in print and PDF from our Talsorian Games is Interface Red Volume 2 for Cyberpunk Red. Here's the latest. Night City's voracious Chumba. It needs more places, more people, more things. More. Or, I guess we could try singing that, right? More. How do you like me? How do you like me? It's never satisfied, and we know you aren't either. Your campaigns can always use a little something extra to push it right over the edge. That's what Interface Red is all about. In this second volume, you'll find a collection of short articles custom crafted to improve your Cyberpunk Red experience. We've featured many of these articles on our website as free DLC for you to download to your data storage device of choice, but this is the first time we've collected them into a single book. Plus, we've thrown in a new exclusive article. The time has come to live your furry, scaly, finny, elfy dreams to the fullest. Volume 2 of Interface Red adds the following to your Cyberpunk Red game. Hardened mooks and hardened lieutenants. If your crew's all about the combat, you'll need these tougher opponents to hit harder, shoot straighter, and stab deeper. Night City weather. Get the atmosphere of Night City just right with this complete system for generating weather, with rules from everything from mild days to blood rain-soaked nights. There's the Jumpstart Kit Conversion Guide. Take the Cyberpunk Red Jumpstart Kit missions to the next level with this conversion guide to the full core rules. There's cargo containers and cube hotels. 20 new places to live, designed to fit perfectly into any edge runner's budget. There's also the Derek Seiler's Guide to Elf Lines Online. You've got the rules for playing Night City's most popular MMO. Now you'll have a full list of dungeons, settlements, and raids, plus a whole bunch of monsters to throw at your digital players. There's the 12 Days of Gunmas. Santas visited Short Circuit and brought with them a sack full of classic weapons, updated for Cyberpunk Red. Finally, there's Exotics of 2045. Bring out your inner beast or true fantasy self with Biotechnica's Bioexotics line. With 17 packages and the rules for treatments, there's nothing you can't become. The 76-page Interface Red Volume 2 can be had as a print on demand for $15, or you can grab just the PDF alone over at DriveThruRPG for $7. And sounds like there is tons of goodies in here. And yes, Russell asked if I said furry. I did. That is probably the one part of this volume I'd be like, I don't know. I've said it time and time again. I'm just not into the anthropomorphic animal thing as far as my role-playing goes. So if I'm not into that with a fantasy role-playing game, you know I'm really not into it for science fiction or a cyberpunk role-playing game. But hey, you know what? If you enjoy. It's you know, it's all for you. Dan Wheeler says, that's an exciting supplement. MC says, man, the original Interface mags were leaps and bounds above the red stuff. So Kevin says, in the true spirit of 80s roots of cyberpunk, I imagine Billy Idol screaming that, more. And Russell Higgins says they identify as a pufferfish. There you go. Okay, well. Enjoy. I'm not here to judge. Fleming Ryan says, whatever floats your boat. That's how I say it all the time. It's like, you know what? Say it all the time. As long as nobody around your table gets their feelings hurt or gets physically hurt, you do you. All right, that is it for the tabletop gaming news for tonight. Should mention there's supposed to be a couple of Cyberpunk Red releases heading my way. I do know that the core rulebook is out of print. I think it's until the end of this month. I think it's coming back into stock the end of this month. And our Talsorian Games is probably going to send that along as well. I just have to ring them again, touch base with them again. So, because I reviewed the starter set, the Jump Start, which I thought was pretty good. That was pretty cool. But I have not shared any video coverage of the core rulebook or any of their releases. So, got some stuff on the way for that. So, we've got a lot of things in transit right now, or pretty soon going to be in transit. MC points out Black Chrome. That is one. That is one that's supposed to be heading my way. So we will keep our eyes peeled for that. All right, so we are going to be diving on into Zobeck Clockwork City in just a few moments. First thing I wanted to mention is, I don't know if how many of you out there are watching The Last of Us. And no, there won't be any spoilers. Don't worry if you haven't watched this past Sunday's episode. Man, I got to say, that was a rough episode to watch. And I don't have children. And that was a rough episode to watch. I don't know. Chime in chat if you watch it. Don't spoil anything. But if you agree with me, man, wow. Only one episode left. Only one episode left. And then I've been trying to catch some of the movies that are up for Academy Awards. And last night I watched Living with, I think his last name is pronounced Nye. Bill Nye. Man, he was good in that. Wow, he was so good in that. I've always liked him. I think the first movie I remember seeing him in was Love Actually. I thought he was excellent in that too. So yes, I've watched Everything Everywhere at Once. I think, isn't that the title? But that was pretty bizarre. I liked it though. But yeah, that was quite unique. Of course, I've seen Top Gun Maverick. So I've seen a few. I've seen a few of the movies. I haven't seen all of them. So don't know. So Russell says, yeah, it was rough. MC says, oh, Last of Us, amazing show. So Dan Wheeler says they are getting ready to check out the show. Huge fan of the game. So Russell Higgins asks, Elvis? I have not watched Elvis yet. I had an opportunity to check it out. I have not yet. My mom went and saw it with my brother and my sister-in-law. My mom was always a big Elvis fan. My mom saw Elvis live when she was a teenager. So that was back in his, his early days. But I'd heard that's pretty good too. I've heard that's a pretty good movie. I'll probably watch it before the Academy Awards float around. But yes, I was just curious about that episode of The Last of Us. If I was just being overly sensitive to it, or what. So I guess I wasn't. Guess I was not. It's funny when you have a series that, they do like 8 to 10 episodes in a season, and then they wrap up, and then you're like, oh, now what the hell am I going to watch? Now what am I going to look forward to on Sunday nights? Damn. All righty then. So we are going to be diving on into Zobeck in just a couple of moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
I draw your favorite beer. Sing it out loud and clear, Heileman's Old Style Lager Beer. Ist das nicht dein Waterspring?
Ja, das ist ein Waterspring.
Wisconsin water, pure and clear for Heileman's Old Style Lager Beer.
Heileman's Old Style Lager Beer.
Ist das nicht ein Feinmalthaus?
Ja, das ist ein Feinmalthaus.
Heileman's do them molding here, choices malt for Heileman's Beer.
Heileman's Old Style Lager Beer.
Ist das nicht ein aging place?
Ja, das ist ein aging place.
Old Style ages longer here, more than any other beer.
Heileman's Old Style Lager Beer.
Ist das nicht ein Temptingstein?
Ja, das ist ein Capstone
Taste so light, so bright, so clear, aged like champagne is this beer.
Wisconsin water, pure and clear.
Choices malt for Heileman's Beer.
Aged longer, tastes so fine.
Heileman's Old Style in your stein.
And for the beer of the grand and dear, Heileman's Old Style Lager Beer.
This thing's sinking. Better throw out that Wilkins Instant Coffee.
Just me and Wilkins Instant for 80 whole days.
Hello there. You know, I've been all around this wonderful world of ours, and in all of this world, nothing else is silly putty. What is silly putty? Well, it's a real solid liquid. If you put it so, it'll go forever, like taffy. But if you give it a sharp tug, it'll break like a biscuit. Now, when you make silly putty round and drop it, it'll bounce higher than a rubber ball. And here's something else you can do with silly putty. Flatten it, press a picture in your newspaper, lift it, stretch it this way and that, and you'll get something that's really funny. Always put your silly putty back in its egg, or it will run slowly away. You can buy silly putty for $1 wherever toys are sold. And remember, nothing else is silly putty.
Hey kids, let me put my pipe down here and I'll tell you about silly putty. Wow, could he have made that look any less fun? Look, I'd have been like, I don't want that. I don't care if it's $1. I don't want it. Kevin says, why did they get a cop to endorse silly putty? I think he's supposed to be like a Commodore or something. Yes. Anyway, I forgot. I should have mentioned when we wrapped up talking about the news that, of course, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to visit, say, DriveThruRPG, like we were talking about, by all means, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up, help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always swing on over to paypal.me/thegaminggang and making a small donation, as did the Madman. That's right. Yes, our good friend, the Madman, stopped by and made a donation, and it was not a small donation either, should point out. So thank you kindly, Madman, and to all of those out there who utilize our banner ads and or swing by paypal.me. Yes, normally I wouldn't have backtracked to talk about DriveThruRPG, but because the Madman made a donation, I was like, oh, damn. I need to thank him. Be very rude not to. Alrighty. Tonight, I'm going to dive on in and take a first look at the recently released Zobeck Clockwork City for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons from Kobold Press. It's written by Wolfgang Bauer, Mike Frank, James J. Hake, Ben McFarlane, Richard Pelt, I'm sorry, I should say Richard Pett, Christina Stiles and Matthew Stinson. But strangely enough, I think Kelly Pollack is also an author because her name is right on the cover, but it was not in the credits that I jotted down from somewhere online. So let's not forget Kelly Pollack, or might be somebody related to her. It just says Pollack. We'll find out when I crack this open. This 288-page hardcover is available now. It does carry an MSRP of $49.99. You can get it with PDF from the Kobold Press website for $59.99. Or if you're just going to grab the PDF alone, you can always do so over at DriveThruRPG. I was just talking about why you would want to do that. And it is $24.99. Flaming Heron says, perfect time for a purchase over at DriveThruRPG because the GM Day sale is going on at the moment. Yes, you have 7 days to take advantage of that sale. According to DriveThruRPG, they say it's their best sale of the year. I don't know. Their Christmas in July is pretty much very similar, as is their Black Friday. So I think they max out at like 30% off on those sales. Maybe the GM Day sale just has more items available. All right. Anyway, enough of that. Let's swing on over to the other camera because here I've got Zobeck Clockwork City. So before we dive on in, a few things I do want to mention. First off, the fine folks over at Kobold Press were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this coverage with you. These days, it's important that you know that. Also, there are some adventures in here, I believe. So if you are a player hoping that your game master is going to pick up Zobeck Clockwork City, probably want to tune out now. But you might want to tell your game master to check out this video so they can get a better feel for what's in Zobeck Clockwork City. Also, we're not going to look at each and every page, obviously enough. But I do want to get a good idea of what's in here because I have not cracked this open. And I mentioned it earlier in the show. I am a big fan of Kobold Press with their Midgard setting. I think it's a lot of fun. Their adventures are pretty good for the most part. And I'm very curious to see what's in Zobeck Clockwork City. So this is supposed to be like a free city in Midgard. It's kind of like a city-state, as far as I recall. And I do believe some material here has appeared previously, and some of this is new. So I'm not going to read everything from the back here, but just a little bit. Adventure in the Crossroads City. From the lofty towers of the Collegium to the dangerous underbelly of the city, this is Zobeck, the thriving heart of Midgard. Built on clockwork ingenuity and cutthroat politics, opportunities abound for everyone. From rulers to refugees, everyone in Zobeck seeks something amid its bustling streets. Bring the Crossroads City to life in your 5th edition campaign. Explore its districts and chase golden dreams through City Hall, Dark Alley, and Fetid Sewer. All right, let's jump on in. What is... Oh, look at that. A Project Black Flag sticker. That's cool. Nice. Very nice. I got to be honest, I haven't taken a look at Project Black Flag yet. So one of these days I'll take a peek. I think it's way too early in the kind of like play test to for me to take a look. Oh, so we got a fold-out map of Zobeck. Nice. All right, so let's see. So here we've got our designers. Okay, so that's kind of, oh, there we go. There's Kelly Pollack, but she's in the additional designers. That's kind of weird. Okay. So the cover artwork says, just an average day in Zobeck as the city watch apprehends someone. The dwarf and kobold might be thieves, or they might be disturbing the peace, or maybe both. Which, I gotta be honest, the cover of this is very similar to the City Builder book that we just looked at, right? It's like the City Watch arresting somebody is what it looks like. So, all right. Kevin says, I don't know. They say they're going to have a PBF Kickstarter in May. Well, I could, you know what? I could see that, because if they do a Kickstarter for Project Black Flag, you're still looking at, even if they say, well, you know, we'll release it in a year, that still gives them plenty of playtest time. All right, so we got a table of contents here. So we've got History of Zobeck, then we'll have an overview of the Free City. So yes, it is a free city. I remember that correctly. Government, districts, and locations, guilds, gangs, and denizens, gods, cults, and relics. We have a chapter on magic. We've got Heroes of Zobeck. Then we have the streets. And I think the streets is the adventure section. Then we got some appendices with some new rules. We got some new chase rules. So Kevin says, I was starting to wonder why Kobold Press has this obsession with police brutality. Okay, let's see what we've got here. What is Zobeck? The free city of Zobeck stands proud at the crossroads of the world. It is a city where adventurers, merchants, and scoundrels, scoundrel, I like the sound of that word, from all walks of life and all nations intermingle. It is a city where wondrous inventions are dreamt and great tales of glory begin. For it is the boiling cauldron in which Midgard's most potent minds, its largest personalities, and its most inflated egos are mixed together. So we've got a history here. And of course, we've got loads and loads of artists who contributed to this. It says, got a little sidebar here. Adapting Zobeck to your campaign. While the free city of Zobeck resides at the crossroads in a world called Midgard and includes many details about Midgard's deities, clockwork technology, and neighboring territories, game masters can easily remove Zobeck from this realm and slip it into their own. This certainly requires a few adjustments, but Zobeck makes a fine trade hub in any campaign world. Russell says they don't feel that Project Black Flag separates itself from 5e enough for their tastes. Having not looked at it, I really can't comment, but I can say that I wouldn't expect it to venture too far off from that core, simply because how much content Kobold Press has in print for 5e. So they don't want to suddenly be sitting there and have all this, all this content out there, all these products out there that they're going to be releasing a core rule book that's not going to be compatible with at all, or you'd have to make a whole lot of various different adaptations to port over to either Project Black Flag or from Project Black Flag. Why am I saying frag? Yeah, it's a Vietnam fantasy game, kids. Don't miss out. Don't miss out on that fantasy Vietnam game. Project Black Flag. Anyway, Anyway, as I was saying, I wouldn't think it would be too different. So you could utilize it easily enough with everything that's out there for 5e from Kobold Press. So there we've got the little kobolds here. Kevin says all that's available is one small playtest packet, so it's hard to tell where they're really going with it. That said, I agree with Jeff that their backlog dictates backward compatibility. Yes. Kevin says Black Company, the RPG. Now that would be cool. I tried getting into those audiobooks and just, I don't know. I think it was the narrator. Just because I had heard good things about Black Company, so I was trying to check it out and got my hands on the first audiobook, and I was like, just not digging it. That's one of the things about audiobooks is if you cannot get behind the narrator, that's it. Could be the greatest book ever. For an example, I love 1984. I remember listening to part of an audio version of it that was just god awful. I was like, I can't listen to this. Like, as much as I love this book, I cannot listen to it. All right, so we get the government. We have the Free City Council, the Lord Mayor. I was going to say, I think I missed the page. We have councils. And it looks like we've got, this has to be some of the nearby regions. There we go, yeah, Zobeck's neighbors. Because I saw the Margrave. So if I remember correctly, Empire of the Ghouls, which I thought was an excellent adventure campaign, I think, if I remember right, I think it kicks off in Zobeck. So, So Russell says, I didn't mean to derail you with that. You haven't derailed us. That's what chat is for, man. For us to talk about different stuff. So we're taking a first look here. This is all new to me as it is to you. So, I mean, I have absolutely no issue. I can usually walk and chew gum. So I've got no issue with taking a look at this and, covering a different topic in chat, which, we're talking about Kobold Press. So it's not like we're sitting here talking about some other publisher, right? So what was this? Peter the Mask Maker. So this is this like a market? I think it's a market. Yeah, odd vendors of the black market. Oh, okay, the black market. So it says Peter the Mask Maker appears one day each month on the 15th. It says for one day each month, an extravagant sign proclaims the presence of Petra the Mask Maker. The sign further advises patrons to place 100 gold pieces in the dish to gain entry. Must be a pretty good sized dish. Other than the sign and a wooden bowl sitting in the air at a height of 3 feet above the ground, there's no sign of a stall, shop, or any other occupation. When a creature places 100 gold pieces in the dish, the money disappears, and an unsupported wooden door, gilded in silver and gold, appears and swings open in the space before them. And spoiler alert, Petra the Mask Maker is a doppelganger. It says right here. Russell says, Empire of the Ghouls was really good. Did you check your gum for the Spider Queen? But yes, I am a fan of Midgard. I've pointed that out a few times previously. It's just, to me, it's got a little darker vibe without suddenly being this grim, dark setting. I know I say it all the time. I am not into I don't mind dark fantasy. I like dark fantasy. So games like Symborum, which we're going to be looking at some Ruins of Symborum releases from our friends over at Free League Publishing soon. I like dark fantasy. I'm not a fan of, oh, we're playing in a world that's ending, right? So I just reviewed Cyborg, and yes, I liked Cyborg, but once again, it's built on the Midgard system, and it's a world that's coming to an end. In fact, there's no getting around the end of the world if you're playing a campaign. Same thing with Midgard. It's just not a fan. I'm just not a fan of that. I know Cubicle 7 Entertainment has a new, if I remember correctly, I think it's for 5e, Broken Weave, which I think it just wrapped up their Kickstarter, and it is a dark fantasy world, but hope still exists. The writing isn't on the wall that it's like, oh, end of the world, everybody, and no matter what your characters do, it's going to be the end of the world. It's just not my thing. Not my bag of tricks, gang. And like I said, one of the things I like about Midgard is, especially some of the different areas of the world, very dark, ruled by undead, things like that. But still, it's not grim dark. Russell says, 100 gold in the dish, the gold disappears, and you awaken with a large knot on the back of your head, and you are now wearing someone else's shorts. And you got a mask, because she's the mask maker. So we've got some adventure hooks here. So now we're taking a look at districts and locations. So we've got the market district. Now, I thought originally that this was just a gazetteer, but it is not. We have 14 adventures in here. So I am very pleased to see that. So we've got a temple district. So we've got some important NPCs. This section here is guilds, gangs, and denizens. Where did we... here we go. There's a great and secret life among the upper-class citizens of Zobeck. Those consuls and praetors and wealthy merchant families. It is a separate world with its own set of rules and expectations. Huh. Okay, so this is interesting. Courtesans. Courtesans of Zobeck are not the whores of Harkish or the crude slatterns of Morgau. Okey-doke. Interesting. I was not expecting to run across that. But hey, that's fine. We're all adults. It's the reason why this video is not aimed at kids. Kevin says, 14 adventures. Nice. So it looks like these are some of our important NPCs. As far as our guilds, gangs, and denizens. The Darkul, the ghouls, the undead. Here we go. We got our bookmark. Nice. Somebody needs little Weight Watchers there, I think. Swagger and bluff. Not every encounter with a gang is a fight. The wiser gang leaders try to intimidate visitors into giving them a few coppers as a toll. Some prefer talking their way into a meal and will hint at dark connections with the Cloven Nine or at secrets the Mouse King has told them in exchange for a beer and some food. Intelligence investigation checks often result in meeting informers from among the street gangs. For many, joining a gang is a matter of survival rather than a calling. In the city's most famous case, the Order of the Undying Sun, years ago, took in a street urchin gang leader who became the celebrated Sir Audraz Grivoli, one of the greatest paladins of his age. It is said he always carried a rat's poniard with him as a reminder of where he came from and a call to humility. Poniard, I think that's how it's pronounced. So we have our gods, cults, and relics. So we've got our different deities. So, of course, there is the Midgard World Book that is available that covers everything you really need to know about the game world itself. I know we also had a recent Kickstarter for another gazetteer of like the Wasted Lands, something along those lines. So that should be coming soon. So we've got a chapter on magic. So we've got Clockwork Mages. So discussion about different clockwork items. Got some new spells. Actually, it looks like we've got quite a few new spells. And of course, Kobold Press has Deep Magic. We've taken a look at Deep Magic. I know the Kickstarter for Deep Magic Volume 2 just wrapped up. Kevin said, yep, it was the Wasted Lands was the Kickstarter. I know I had shared some news about it, and I know the last interview I had with Wolfgang Bauer at last year's Gen Con, we chatted a little bit about it because that was the Kickstarter that was on the horizon. So we have new mounts. We've got a Clockwork Warhorse, Giant Fey Owl, a Riding Griffin, a War Wyvern. So the streets. So these are our adventures. So let's see if we can do... Looks like we might have just like a little synopsis. So everyone lies. Lord Greymark, I almost said Greyhawk. Lord Greymark's wayward daughter inadvertently pulls the party into the conflict between the Cloven Nine and the Spyglass Guild over a little black book. Can the PCs learn to navigate Zobeck's underbelly, or will everything blow up in their faces? It's an adventure suitable for 4 PCs of first level. That is something else I should mention that I notice with Kobold Press adventure books and campaign books is that the adventures are not made for like huge groups, which is a good thing. You look at the old modules from Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, and it's like, oh, this is for 7 to 12 14th level characters. And you're like, yeah, okay, good luck. Good luck with that. Even back in the day, you would be really hard pressed to get that many gamers at a table. Russell says, I wish these books were more like Judges Guild, City State of the Invincible Overlord. A map and short descriptive locations. They stat out the creature NPC there. Just different design philosophy. It has been a long time since I looked at City State of the Invincible Overlord. When I say a long time, I'm talking 40 years-ish. So we have a book in the bath. A small-time fence's ambition outstretches his reach as he makes a play against the Mouse Kingdom in a race. What, he's going up against Disney? You fool! In a race for the prize. Will the PCs choose sides, or will they simply try to minimize the fallout? So this is for 4 PCs of second level. Taking a look at some of the included maps here. Death of a Mage. A devoted clockwork mage and lecturer at the Collegium turns up dead at the hands of his own creation. Will the PCs decide this was merely an arcane mishap, or will they uncover a deeper mystery? This adventure is suitable for 4 PCs of 3rd level. So it looks like each of these adventures are about 5 to 7 pages long. Although this one's looking a little bit longer as soon as I said that. That one looks like it's clocking in around 10. A sunken, forgotten prison lies beneath the city. Can the PCs find a way through the ooze-filled passages? Or will they simply be the next batch of dead explorers? So this is for PCs of 3rd level as well. Is that oubliette? Oubliette? I know I've seen that word before. I just not exactly sure how to pronounce that. Trouble brewing at the tavern. Dun dun dun. Oh, so that was a pretty short adventure. A drinking problem. Local bar has a rum gremlin infestation. Damn those rum gremlins! Can the PCs convince a pesky Clerchon to help? Or will they succumb to the bottle? Okay, so that's 4 PCs, 4th level. Well, this one looks to be a little bit longer as well. Then we have Rust. Lower Zobeck is being terrorized by a nightly menace, and the party is approached for aid. Will the PCs free the locals from their savage tormentors, or will they be the next victims of a dead man's cruel legacy? So we're looking at 4 PCs of 4th level. Well, that's kind of cool. It's like almost like a clockwork angel. The Fish and the Rose. There's a certain painting that needs liberating from Lord Greymark. Hey, Lord Greymark showing up again. Can the PCs pierce his vault? Can the PCs pierce his vault and make it out in one piece with the prize? All right, so that's for 4 PCs of 5th level. Very cool. I'm pretty impressed so far. Like I said, I was thinking this was just a gazetteer that was collecting some previously published Zobeck material and some new stuff too. I didn't realize there were a bunch of adventures in here. There's a big deal going down between the Mouse Kingdom, boy, I'm telling you, that Disney, and the Winter Court. A very rare rose is changing hands, and the party is hired to steal it. Will the PCs succeed in their daring heist or fall prey to one of the many factions after the prize? So that is for 6th level characters. The First Lab. A new threat arises to eradicate the Gearforged forever. Oh, wow. And the Predators will do anything to bury this. Can the PCs defeat this menace and keep a dark and secret history of the Gearforged under wraps? Well. Clockwork Abominations. Yes. Song Undying. There's a new cult in town. And to save a young boy, the party must place targets on their own backs. Can the PCs infiltrate the group's compound and put an end to its menace? Yes, it's isn't it Itzek of the Jug? Isn't that the deity that Fofford ends up, enamored with in the first Liber story? That is one of my all-time favorite Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser stories. I think it is. I think it's Ixac of the Jug. Red Lemmy's famous meat pies. I think it's supposed to say theirs, but it says there something. There's something not quite right about this place. Can the PCs save the region's travelers from a pair of fiendish predators? That's not much of a synopsis there. Rebuilding a good man. Yes, because a good man's hard to build. Ask any woman out there. Time is critical to get a man's soul into a gear-forged body before he dies. Can the PCs gather the essential parts all while preventing a thief from stealing the body? Okay, so this is 4 PCs of 9th level. Oh, look. They're playing D&D in the D&D adventure. Ripper. Ooh, well. Death stalks the streets of Zobeck, leaving mutilated bodies in its wake in a city in fear, and the Watch lean on the party to solve its problems. Can the PCs find and put an end to this depraved killer? Well, there you go. I think that's him. Think we caught him. Think we got him already. Sweet. So, I wonder how... Well, I'm sure they're not going to get in the same kind of gruesomeness as the Ripper murders, but I wonder how much inspiration this adventure is going to be drawing from the historical Jack the Ripper. Kind of curious. So we have Flesh Fails. A fatal summoning accident at the Collegium leaves a chain of questions, and the party is asked to investigate. Can the PCs get to the bottom of the mystery, or will the city be overrun by undead? All right. That was it. I think that was the last one. And that was for 11th level characters. And then we have our appendices. We have new chase rules. That's one thing that I had noticed in the table of contents. Then we've got some new magic items. We already saw we had a good number of new spells. New stat blocks. So this looks like this is a bestiary here, monsters and NPCs. Because we did get stat blocks for some of the important NPCs in the Free City of Zobeck already. And then we've got our index. And we're going to wrap up. We've got another map of Zobeck. There we go. Midgard World Book. I don't have the Hero's Handbook. I wish I did. I'd be very interested in checking that out. We've taken a peek at Vault of Magic as well. So we've got that. And then we've got our open game license. And that's what wraps up Zobeck Clockwork City for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons from Kobold Press. I believe they're considering this a collector's edition. I'm pretty sure this is being considered to be a collector's edition. So if you see an advertisement, if you're looking around at maybe picking this up and you see it's a collector's edition, I believe that is this. I don't think there's a different like alternate cover or anything like that. Once again, this 288-page hardcover carries an MSRP of $49.99. If you want to get the PDF along with it, you can do so over at the Kobold Press website for $59.99. But if you're just going to pick up the PDF alone, go on over to DriveThruRPG. Be sure to use one of our banner ads over at thegaminggang.com first, and you can pick up just the PDF alone for $24.99. All right, so Looking good. Interesting. I will have a review of Zobeck Clockwork City in the near future. I still have my review of Tales from the Shadows that I need to get out there. That's going to probably be out there this weekend. So I got a lot cooking. Lots cooking. I actually think I am going to share my What is the OSR video. I think I'm going to put that together this weekend or maybe later in this week. And it's not only going to be what is the OSR, but also is it filled with right-wing extremists? Because interestingly enough, and I'll mention this in the video, I get people who shoot me emails saying, hey, Jeff, you're always talking about like the OSR, the old school Renaissance, and you shared looks at different OSR books and you have a lot of news about OSR. And I'm really interested, but I hear these stories. So I want to address that. I am going to address that. So, and you might be surprised by what I've got to say. So you never know. You never know. So anyway, I've got lots and lots cooking. So on tomorrow's show, it is going to be a War Game Wednesday. I am going to unbox and take a first look at Inferno from GMT Games. This is the latest release in the Voko Runekey series of Levian campaign. So that is on tomorrow's show. Looks kind of cool. I pointed out last night when I was talking about how this is going to be on tomorrow's show that for me, Levian campaign's a little more complex to get like my gang to the table playing it. You know, it's one thing getting Twilight Struggle to the table, or 1960 to the table, or Wild Blue Yonder, say. Inferno, Levian campaign series, little different. Flaming Heron says, did you check out those pronunciations yet? No, I did not. And the spider's back. It's got to be a spider. And it's got to be probably about this big. From what I'm looking at, that's what it appears to be to me. Weird. That is so bizarre. I don't know. Anyway, Man says, very nice. I like what I saw. I'm very interested to check out more about those adventures. You might pick up that PDF of Zobeck Clockwork City. Anyway, so Inferno tomorrow, and then all next week, it is Pathfinder Kingmaker Week. I shared with you all the Kingmaker goodies that Paizo Inc. sent along. We are going to dive into them, and we are going to just be completely invested in Kingmaker next week. So stay tuned for that. All right, that is it for this time out. Thankfully, the spider has not blown up my monitor as it goes moving up. As I said, the spider zipped over a bit. I'm like, don't come bothering me. Anyway, that's it for this time out. If you were watching live, thank you very much. Always appreciate that. If you watched live and took part in chat, big thank you for that as well, because not only are you keeping me company, you're keeping each other company while I'm babbling on about various different things. But of course, I know a lot of people out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if you're watching live or on Memorex. I appreciate each and every one of you taking time out of your busy lives to watch any of the videos here on the YouTube channel. And of course, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it will not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday evenings at 7 p.m. Central right here on YouTube, It'll also inform you when I upload original videos, such as my review of Twilight Struggle, Red Sea, Conflict in the Horn of Africa, which just went live early this morning. So if you're kind of curious about this quick playing slice of Twilight Struggle, then by all means, check out my review. So everybody enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. And of course, until I see you next time, here's hoping each and every one of you gets to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.
Oh, hey, you're still here. That's okay. You don't have to leave just yet. In fact, why don't you subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel right here, or take a peek at the latest live stream, or even find out what YouTube recommends you check out from the channel. And of course, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thanks again for watching.